Hey you guys, it's Miss Cindy. Welcome to Tween Tuesday yet again. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Today we're going to be learning how to use household materials like tape, a toilet paper or paper towel roll, and popsicle sticks to make a loom. And we're going to use that loom to knit something. What I knitted today was actually a scrunchie, and you'll see how I managed to do it. But you can also make a necklace or a headband. I'm not going to try to squeeze my big head into this, or a bracelet, or just like a kind of a snake decoration that you can use as a rope to decorate something, or as a pet leash. There's tons and tons of different uses for it. So let's get right down to it. The very first thing I'm going to do, which is very optional for you guys, is to color and label your sticks. So I'm using 6. You can use more or less depending on how big or how small you want it. I would suggest, if you think that you're going to have a hard time with the little movements, that you start off with thicker popsicle sticks and maybe a thicker yarn if you have it. But let's take that one step at a time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to color these. I say that this is optional for you because if you're doing this at home, you don't necessarily have to do all this. I'm just kind of being a little bit extra. The important thing, though, is that you want to differentiate all your sticks from each other. So you want to know which is which. And usually for me, color or number is probably a good way to do that. So the first one is going to be pink. I'll move that over. Next one is going to be green. And it doesn't have to be a lot. You don't need to do the whole thing. I'm just doing little bits at the top so that I can easily tell by just looking at it which one it's going to be. If you want to do the whole thing, or if you want to decorate it just because you want your loom to be really cute, that's fine. This is, just going to be for you. So really it's whatever you want it to be. Now that we are done coloring them, I am actually also going to label them. So 1, and I'm going to do it on both sides. The reason for this is not everybody sees color in the exact same way. So even though for me it might be easier to follow along based on color, the way that the light hits it or the way that your screen shows it, so many things can change the way you see colors. So it might not be as easy for you to follow along. And there's those of us that are colorblind in so many ways, so they might not see color at all. 2 colors might look exactly the same to them. There's a lot of different things. So for me to make something that'll have you guys follow along, I think it's best if I label these by number and by color. That way you guys can follow along the best way you can. Now that you've got your sticks, I'm going to take this half a paper towel roll that I cut, basically. You can also use a toilet paper roll if you have that a lot, which you might. So what we're going to do is take that and some tape. I like to cut some pieces just to kind of have, so that I don't have to rip it every time I'm doing. You can't see, but I'm sticking it to my couch. Whoops, that did not rip nicely. That's alright. This part doesn't have to look really nice unless you want to decorate your loom, in which case maybe I suggest taking nicely colored duct tape, or just even coloring in this masking tape once you're done, or covering it in paper to decorate it. Okay. What we're going to do is put these out, and you don't want to leave too much of the stick sticking out. You want it to be short, not so short that the yarn is going to slip off, but not so tall that when you start to pull it, it's going to be very difficult. It's a hard thing to guess, but we're going to just try to estimate. And I would say probably this is good. So I'm going to take my chunk of tape here. Okay. I'm going to go in order because what's the point of numbering them if you're not going to do them in order? Like I said, I'm doing 6. You can do 4. You can even do more than 6 if you want to do like 8. They will be kind of bunched together, but if you think that you can do it, feel free to try. Nothing, whoop, there we go. Nothing is lost from giving something a shot. Now you want to put these roughly distant, equally distant from each other. But it doesn't have to be super exact. You just want to make sure that you have enough room for everything. Okay, and see for here, for example, I put them slightly too far apart and now I only have room for 5. That's alright. Then I'll only do 5. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take more masking tape. Just kind of one big chunk. You can use tape, glue. I would say maybe hot glue if you're going to use a glue, but or even a rubber band would work. Regular glue probably won't stick as well, but literally any kind of tape you have at home is fine. Alright, so now I have my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 again. Alright, so now that you've got your loom ready, that's what this is called, the loom. Remove some of this lint. You're going to find your yarn. I'm using this kind of thin white yarn. This is what I've got at home. And also using a little bit of a thinner yarn makes it slightly easier, hopefully, that you guys can see what I'm doing. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the end of your yarn. You don't have to cut it off of the roll yet or anything. It's still attached. So just find the end, the tail. And then you're going to put it right through your tube. Push it through the other side. You're going to want to leave a little bit hanging. I'm actually leaving maybe 8 inches or so. That's just because I like to have a lot of extra just in case I mess something up. But as long as you leave like at least 4 to 5 inches, you're good to go. You're going to hold that. And what I like to do is I like to use my thumb while I'm working to hold it so that it's just held tight and doesn't get pulled or anything. So where you're going to want the yarn to be is next to 1. Not next to 1 on the side between number 5 and number 1, but next to 1 between number 1 and number 2. So just here. Okay? You're going to take it and you're going to go over, around. See how it's kind of hugging 1? And to the other side of 2. Not the side of 2 that's between 1 and 2, but the side of 2 that's between, let me turn it here so you can see it a little better, that's between 2 and 3. So we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to loop. What I'm going to say a bunch of times probably is don't pull it too tight. You're going to see why in a few minutes, but I'm telling you now and I'm going to repeat it. Don't make it too tight. You'll learn a little bit what's too tight and what's too loose as you do it, but the best way is just to keep it a little bit looser than you think you need it. So now we're between the 3 and the 4. So again, I'm going to wrap it over the front and go, whoops, see, now I did that wrong. And go between the 4 and the 5. We're going to do the same thing, wrap it around. And now we're between 5 and 1. We're going to wrap it again and leave it where it is. You can see the inside, how they're all connected except for 5 and 1. Now I'm going to do it again because you need to start with at least 2. I'm going to do it from this angle this time. This one here is 1, this one here is 5. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 is red, 2 is pink, 3 is orange, 4 is green, 5 is yellow. So we're going to do it again. So again, between 1 and 2, 1 is here, 2 is here. I'm going to go around the front and over, so it's a little loop. Again, between 2 and 3, loop. And it's going to go to 3, loop, and then 4, loop, and then 5, loop. It's okay if you didn't totally get it from that one go. This is a process that's going to get repeated over and over and over again. So if you didn't get it that first time, you will probably get it as time goes on, but I am going to show you what to keep doing. If you didn't get it, it's totally fine. You're just going to want to try and try and try again. You didn't see before, but I've already actually made another one and practiced because I wanted to show you guys what to do. And I messed it up a couple of times and had to go back and unstitch and restitch and start over. It took a little while, but it's worth it to learn. So, once again, now that you're back at 1 being this red one here, you see there are 2 loops. One kind of at the bottom and one at the top. So again, what you're gonna do now is take the bottom one, and this is where you're gonna want to be careful. You're gonna want to pull it carefully, and I'm holding the top loop now just so that you guys can see, and pushing it to the bottom. Take that bottom loop, pull it over the top, and then over the top of the stick. Now, this is attached to this tail that's coming out, so I'm just pulling it a little bit. And now 1 is back to 1 single loop. And this is, again, going to get repeated, so don't worry, you'll get to see it again. So number 2, we're going to take the bottom loop, and this is why I tell you don't make it too tight. Because if you make it too tight, this is not going to be able to come out. So you want to have a nice balance between loose and tight. All right, take that bottom one, pull it over, and make sure that the other loop does not slip over the top of the stick. And then what I do is I just pull it a little bit at the bottom just to kind of tighten it. Again, with number 3, we're going to take, and make sure you're paying attention when you're doing this so that you know which loop is the bottom loop and which loop is the top loop. We're going to take the bottom loop, pull it, and then it goes down. You can pull it a little bit here again. And now 3 is back to a single loop. Now number 4, same thing. You're going to pull over. Oh, I almost lost it there. And you're good. And then the same with 5. You're going to pull it over, and then I just pull down a little bit. You don't have to. Alright, that's step 2, but don't worry, we're going to go back to step 1. There's really 2 steps that you have to keep doing over and over, so we're going to repeat it over and over. Alright, so that was, again, step 2. The inside should keep looking like this, just like you're going around the outside of the tube. So again, we're going to do step 1. Okay. Take your string. This one here is number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So again, 1. I'm going to do it from this top view so you can hopefully see what I'm doing. Take it so that it's between 1 and 2. Loop it around 1. And loop it around 2. Then loop it around 3. For me, it's easier if I do it kind of like this, all in one go. But you do it however you need to do it to remember it. All around 4, and then all around 5. Now that you've got, you're back to 2 loops. So we're going to start again with number 1. And I like to hold both of these with my fingers to make sure that they don't come loose. you have enough things to worry about while you're doing the rest of this. All right, so we're gonna go back to 1. Let me hold this so you can see it a little better, hopefully. All right, take the bottom loop, pull it over the top, and then just push that loop down. Now the top loop becomes the bottom loop. That's why you've pushed it down like that. Same with 2. You're gonna pull it. Don't pull too much. Okay? You're gonna go over and then push that back down again. You can't even imagine the amount of times that I did this and then this just immediately became loose. So I get it if it's a little bit tough. Or it might not be. Okay. Number 3. And down again. Back to 4. And down. And then number 5. Pull over and then push that down. So what I like to do is kind of push a little bit with my finger so that all of the loops go down. But you'll see it'll start meeting in the center and start going lower and lower. I'm going to do it again just so that you guys can keep seeing it. So once again, starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right here. Between 1 and 2. I'm going to do it this way so you guys can see this. You go here. You loop to 3. Then you loop to 4. And you loop to 5. And you loop it. And then you stop at 5 so we can start over again. Okay, once again. Take the bottom. You can see it from this angle I'm doing. Take the bottom, slip it over the top, and down. Take the bottom loop. Whoop, see, I almost lost it. Push it back. Take the bottom loop, push it over the top and down. Bottom, push it over the top and down. I like to push down a little bit again on the center once you have a little bit center going. 4 goes over and then down. Again, I'm just kind of pushing just to tighten it a little bit. It will tighten a little bit as you go on, so don't worry too much about that. And 5, right over, and then, oh, get my finger stuck in the middle. Right there. So you see, the center has a little bit going. It will keep going. All right, let's keep going. It's basically 2 steps over and over again. Alright, so as you can see, mine's actually gotten pretty long. It's coming out from the bottom a little bit. So, let's say that you're done. You can pretty much make this as long as you want. I've made this to be super, super long in that it was probably the size of like a leash that you could take. You can also make it small, so it's the size of a bracelet, a little bigger, medium, so it's the size of a headband. There's a lot that you can do with this, and it's the same process no matter how long or short you want it. You just stop if you want it shorter, or keep going if you want it longer. Okay, so now what you're going to want to do is you're going to actually want to cut the end now. Make sure that you leave some space. I like to leave a lot of space, again, because what if I mess something up? So I'm actually going to cut it probably at about here. So we're going to take our scissors. And again, I'm only leaving all this extra room because I like it. You don't have to. Okay. So now you're going to take the end that you just cut, leaving the other end alone. And you're going to, starting with one, again, this is one here. Pull this loop up. Now there's only one loop. Pull it up, pull it out. You're going to put the end of this through that first loop. Just holding it right there. You're going to do the same thing with the rest. I'm going to pull up two. What I like to do is I put my finger in it so that it holds the hole open. And pass this one through. Okay, same with three. These loops should not be super tight, so I'm hopeful that it'll actually be pretty easy for you to get through these. Four, pull it up through. And last one, 5, up and out. So now you've got it through. You can actually pull it out of the tube, and you've got whatever your length is. Like I said, mine was pretty long, so I could actually either use it as a bracelet if I wanted to, kind of a long bracelet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these two ends probably around here, just leaving some tail, and I'm going to make a knot between these two. A nice strong double knot. Go. Actually, maybe I will triple knot it because it cannot hurt. And just cut the ends off. It's nice and stretchy. You can go back. So what I'm actually going to use this for is I'm actually going to use this as a scrunchie. I'm going to use this to hold my hair back in a ponytail for when I'm outside taking a walk or just need to get the hair out of my face. If I had made it a little shorter, I could use it as a bracelet. If I had made it a little longer, I could use it as a full-on headband, but my head is pretty big. It definitely will not be able to fit into this no matter what. So depending on how you want to use it, that's where the length comes in. You can always make a few just to start, just to keep it as sort of a snake decoration or a bookmark, anything like that, until you figure out something that you might want to use it for, or make it as a gift for someone else. Okay guys, check out my brand new scrunchie that you just saw me make. Styling, yes. Like I said before, you can make a lot of things out of this same style tutorial. You can make a scrunchie, you can make a headband, you can make a necklace, you can make a bracelet, you can make a rope, collar for your pet, tons and tons of stuff. Just random decoration even would be fine. I know this was a little bit harder than the stuff that we probably have done before on the virtual Tween Tuesdays recently, but I am fully confident that you guys can figure it out. And if you do figure it out and make something really cool, I really would love for you to send it to me. Just a picture at this address right here. Anything that you've made for Tween Tuesday or Cooking with Miss Cindy, I would really love to see it. So until next time, happy crafting,